What's up, you movie collecting maniacs, and welcome back to the Lucid Nightmare. I'm your host, as always, Jay Schatzer, and I wanted to get this video out as quick as I could because I stumbled across some really awesome deals on Hamilton Books, the website. They are ridiculous deals on things that are out of print, that are really high in price on anywhere else you look, and these are going for like $5 or $6 each. So hold on to your butts. Some awesome stuff, and I want to get it out to you guys to see if you wanted to get these for yourself. And yeah, they're all pretty much Shout Factory, Scream Factory releases. A lot of ones I don't have in my collection, and I picked up a lot of great stuff that were on my wish list on Amazon and other places. So let's get into it. Let's show these awesome deals. So first up is a movie I've never seen before, but I know it's famous. It's a famous comedy, kind of dark comedy, with a really great cast with Steve Martin and Michael Caine. It is Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, and for $5 or $6, I couldn't pass it up. I picked it up. It's part of the Shout Select series, and I know a little bit about it, but I've never seen it before, but I figured I would pick it up. And this one is probably the least excited I am of these picks that I have, just because I've never seen the movie before, so I don't really know how great it is. It was never on a wish list, but I saw it was available for that cheap, and I said, why the hell not? But yeah, great stuff. But there's other ones that, I'll keep moving forward. So up next is a very, very interesting film starring Chris Sarandon. I watched the trailer a long time ago and was really intrigued by it, but I don't really remember what the premise or any of the story was about. But I've always wanted to pick it up, and I've never had it before. So it is The Resurrected. And I went with the reverse poster. It looks a little bit cooler, more demented. But yeah, it's going for a pretty good price. It's up in the $20, $25, sometimes $30 this release. And for some reason, it's only like $6.99 or $5.99 around there on the website. But awesome to pick this one up. And yeah, I didn't know if all these prices were mistakes. So if they are, get on them fast, because I don't know how long you're going to be on there for. But yeah, cool stuff. And really excited to pick these ones up. And they came super fast. Hamilton Books always, sends out your shipments super fast. This isn't an endorsement for Hamilton Books, by the way. I don't get any commission for this crap. Just a huge fan. But up next is a movie that's very strange, very unusual. I watched it a long time ago on a Monday movie night with the guys. I fell asleep a few times, but it was an interesting story about a bunch of college kids going to the professor's house, and he tells them different stories, and they're kind of like, I think it's like they're learning about the essence of fear and what people do and stuff like that. It's called After Midnight. From what I remember, it was very interesting. But to tell you the truth, I forgot about the movie completely until I saw it was on this sale. And I picked it up just because I'm going to give it another chance, watch it all the way through when I wasn't so tired. But it is very interesting. I think it's like an anthology movie that talks about different stories, almost like a campfire tale, but told in a rich professor's house. Very unusual, but pretty cool cast, and yeah, it's just an offbeat kind of flick that figured I would pick up for dirt cheap. And what we have next is the one that I'm really excited to be picking up, because I've had this on my list for a long, long time. I actually watched it again, revisited it with the guys on a Monday movie night, and it was just as fun as I remembered, almost even funner, just because I was seeing with the rest of the guys instead of when I was a kid watching it at home late at night. The movie is The Ambulance, and I've had it on my wish list on Amazon for a while. It was going for like $25, $26, maybe around there. And then it just went out of print where it's up to the 30s and stuff like that. And then when I saw that Hamilton had this one for release for like $5.99 or something like that, I seriously thought it was a joke. I thought I was going to get ripped off, even though that's a reputable site. But it's here in my hands. The actual release from Scream Factory, The Ambulance, a super, super fun movie with Eric Roberts in the lead role as an artist who stumbles upon a mystery where an ambulance scours the city and picks up people and does like experiments on them, and they just disappear. And he wants to date this chick. He talks to her, and then she gets abducted, and he's just, the whole rest of the movie, he is trying to find where she went and save her. It also has James Earl Jones in the supporting role as a detective who doesn't believe a word he's saying. Eric Roberts' character is saying, but he stumbles upon it and starts to kind of like help him out. But it's a crazy over the top movie. And the ambulance in the movie is really creepy. It has like glowing lights and driving around looking for people. But Eric Roberts is so over the top and crazy. It's almost like he's channeling the spirit of Nicolas Cage in this movie. He's very over the top, very crazy. He's always yelling, and he's entertaining as all hell. And that's what stuck with me over all the years when I watched this movie. And I've always wanted to have it in the collection. Then I saw that Scream was actually putting this one out, and I want to get my hands on it, but I just didn't want to bite the bullet on $20 for a movie. So now I paid like $6 for it. So I held out, and it's one of the only times that I've really held out for something and it paid off big time. Usually it only gets down to like $16 or $15, these Scream Factory ones. I don't know how the hell they're selling it for this cheap, especially when it's like out of print and it's the price is skyrocketing now. So definitely pick these up if you want to grab these for your collection. But let's move it on to another fun movie that I don't believe I own. I know I own the first one because it is an absolute classic of the 80s comedy genre. But this is the sequel. It doesn't carry over the same actor, but I watched it recently for the first time. It's not as good as the first movie, but it does have its charm. It's very odd and weird, but yeah, I dug it. It is Teen Wolf 2. Of course, Michael J. Fox doesn't come back for this one. But instead you got, what's his face in the role? I never remember this guy's name. Bateman. Jason Bateman? Yeah, Jason Bateman. It's silly. He goes to college. This guy, he's the brother or cousin of Michael J. Fox's Scotty character. And, he stumbles into boxing, and he's a boxer, but he's not any good at it. He's not any good at being a boxer. But his werewolf powers make him a badass boxer, and he goes through being a jerk, just like the original. It goes through the same kind of beats as the first movie. It's just not as good. Doesn't have a great soundtrack like the original does. And of course, it doesn't have Michael J. Fox in the lead role, which I think he brings the whole thing together. I'm a huge fan of the original Teen Wolf. If you don't know, when I was young, when the movie first came out, I dressed up as Teen Wolf when I was a kid for Halloween. I also did it when I was an adult. This is probably like 10 years ago now at this point. But love the movie, and I enjoy the sequel. I got a kick out of it, even if it doesn't kind of live up to the expectations of the first movie. But I wasn't really expecting it to. But yeah, that's Teen Wolf 2. And let's see. Up next is another crazy movie, but this one's a little bit different. It's got Jean-Claude Van Damme in it. It's a post-apocalyptic wasteland kind of flick. And it's got a really weird story behind it, a lot of history, but it is Cyborg. And I don't think I own this one on Blu-ray. I really don't know, but for the price, I don't really care. I mean, these are all $5 or $6. But this one, I believe it was put together by Canon Films, or when Canon Films was falling apart. And it actually uses the sets and props and stuff from the Masters of the Universe movie. Or the Masters of the Universe sequels idea. So it looks like it's a very high budget film, even though it's a low budget premise, this one. But it's interesting enough. It's got a really cool looking bad guy that kind of is always kicking the shit out of Jean-Claude Van Damme. But he's pretty much just this guy who's trying to help a robot woman get to a facility where they're like the Resistance or something like that. Really interesting stuff. But yeah, it's definitely a post-apocalyptic film from the 80s. It's got that vibe, that look, that feel, and it's just a lot of fun and cool. And it's one of Albert Pune's probably, I think it's his best looking film. It's best put together film, I guess is the best way to say it, because he is a very low budget production kind of guy. This is where they gave him a lot of money in this one. I think it's more of a cult classic now, but when it came out, it wasn't too looked, upon as a good film. But great stuff. And let's keep moving to a movie that I think this is another movie that I watched with the guys, or we watched at the cottage one weekend years and years ago. I know I fell asleep to it because I only remember one part, and I think they were on a swing on a cliff, and they were pushing these people, and these people went off the cliff. But it's American Gothic, and I think that scene is in this movie. But I've never seen the whole thing. I remember that part, and I must have been dozing off and then woke up at that part. It was probably the 7th film we watched that weekend. But yeah, I picked it up because I want to see it for myself and add to the collection, and for the price, you really can't go wrong. So I picked it up. Let me know what you think of this one if you've seen it. I know a lot of you guys have, probably. But up next is an interesting sequel that I don't believe I've seen, actually. I've seen bits and parts, but I'm a huge fan of the original. But this one carries over with one of the characters from the first film, but doesn't have anything to do really with the first kid. It is The Gate 2. And what's the subtitle? Return to the Nightmare. So it is Stephen Dorff's neighbor who carries on. He's the main player of this movie. But it probably deals with the same thing of demons and all this other supernatural stuff coming up and messing with the kids. But the first movie's a classic. Love it to death. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. The house in that movie their address was 150, and I lived in a house growing up 150, and I always thought that was going to happen to me, the eyeball in his hand, and it used to freak me out. But The Gate 2, yeah, I'm going to have to give it a revisit, because I think I might have seen it, but I just don't remember. Probably back in the VHS days when you were renting them at stores. But yeah, The Gate 2. And last but definitely not least is a movie I've always been interested in because it's directed by one of my favorite directors of all time, Sam Raimi. He did this movie, and it's almost like a slapstick comedy crime drama, I guess. I don't know. I've only seen trailers, and I don't really know much about it. But the main duo in this one are pretty famous in their own right. But it's supposed to be a pretty weird and wild production, so I want to check it out and see what it's all about. But if you haven't guessed, it's Crime Wave. And I've heard a lot of strange things about this one, but I definitely want to check it out for myself and kind of get my own opinion on it. But yeah, it's supposed to be pretty loopy, as you can tell from the screens and the characters in the front. But yeah, Crime Wave. But that is it. That is my stack of Scream Factory, Shout Factory / films. It's mostly the Scream Factory ones because those are the ones I was missing the most. But I think there was a lot of stuff on there too that I already own. So if any of these tickle your fancy and you want to pick them up for yourself, definitely go on there to Hamilton Books and see if there's anything else on there, because these were all in absolute steal. All of these were for like less than $60. And yeah, you can't go wrong with that, especially with Scream Factory and the movies they put out. But definitely check it out before it's too late, before they realize they made a mistake and priced them way too low. But definitely get them. And that's it for me. So hopefully you enjoy that one. Hopefully you like what I'm doing here. And if you do, leave a comment and subscribe, like it, do all that main jazz. And I will see you guys at the next Lucid Nightmare. See ya.